Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, bringing you match 38 in our Age of Empires 3 series, taking care of 3 popular requests today. 1, play Russians. 2, show my Russian Rush deck. And 3, play on a water map or the Caribbean map specifically. As you can see, we are fulfilling all of those, and I'm super excited and stoked to bring you this match. It just happened. I ended up not going to class this morning. I was playing some hooky because I have a bunch of extra absence days and I was really tired, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go on Age of Empires 3, see if I can get a match. I did, and this is what we got for you guys here today. It's a phenomenal match on Caribbean. It's a one-on-one. I'm playing Russian against a Master Sergeant who's playing Dutch. It's going to be fabulous to play this match. Now, here's what's going on right away. We know it's going to be a water map, so we know our entire focus obviously is going to be water. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Our goal is going to be to take the water from the Dutch player as soon as possible. We know that the Dutch have an amazing water boom. So my whole thought here is, not only do I need to water boom and grab control of the water really fast, I need to attack the Dutch and rush him, despite the fact that he's probably not going to be expecting a rush. And I felt like I could do a really good job of that. And the reason why I felt like I could do a great job with that is because, well, one, I played the Dutch so many times before, especially on this channel. It seems like every video I get on this channel is against a Dutch player. But 2, the Russian economy, right, the Sterlet rush, is focused around food and wood. Fishing boats are made out of wood, so it's actually not going to be that hard for me to expand my economy to also focus a fish boom in with a Russian Sterlet rush. I can send my 2 caravels from my home city in order to transport my troops and not even have to worry about gold. So right off the bat, I'm already thinking, you know what, we got a strategy, we got a game plan here. Now, the second thing that came in my head that I realized, okay, I need to figure out is, am I going to go with 17 or 13 villagers, or 14 or 17 villagers to age up? And here I actually am kind of thinking, is he right there? Is he like flippity flopping me? But I accidentally typed that out when I didn't mean to, so he ended up seeing that I did that. Now, it's not the end of the world because not much is happening in-game. So, yeah, I probably shouldn't have typed that out. And he's kind of like, what's going on? Now, my first card here, instead of being 300 wood like it normally would be, I'm actually going to send schooners. Now, I probably should have mentioned that first. And what schooners does, it makes fishing boats cost 30... it makes fishing boats cost 30? No, it makes fishing boats cost 40 wood a head instead of 100 wood a head, which is a 60% cheaper discount, and it just makes it very economical and practical to fishing boat boom. So that's actually going to be my first card instead of a wood trickle card or the 300 wood card like you would normally do. By the way, guys, I don't have any particular Russian strategy. I may or may not be making this up as I go along, but I felt like it's going to work out well. Now, as you can see here, we have our 14 villagers coming out once this current set of 3 is done, and we're going to be faced with a choice. Now, in game, I kind of delayed my choice a bit, and because I delayed, I ended up aging with 14. I felt like that was totally right choice, because remember, we wanted to rush a Dutch player as fast as was humanly possible. Now, here's something else that I kind of considered, that kind of came to my head here, is in terms of aging up, normally with Russia, you'd age up with a 400 wood, right? It just makes sense. You can build 2 houses, a market, or you can build a block house, or you can put that wood into sterlets. But we're actually going to age up here with 500 food, and I actually had a kind of interesting idea here. I'm like, I'm going to age with 500 food, and while aging, I'm going to shift all my villagers to wood, and then I'm going to focus on making boats while aging and getting a fishing boom started. I'll put my boats onto food, and then I'll gather the 500 food when I age up, and then I'll have a really strong fishing economy, and I'll be able to take control of the sea. So that was my entire idea there. So as you can see, we're going to move all 14 villagers right to wood immediately, and we've completely scouted out our island at this point, and so it's actually pretty safe to assume that he's completely mirrored or flipped us on the other side of the island. Sorry guys, I had to take a drink there. My voice is kind of dry at the moment. So here we go, look at this. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to look at his deck, and he's got a typical fishing deck, but he doesn't have any second age military cards, so that tells me right off the bat, I looked at that and said, this sucker ain't got no idea that I'm going to be rushing him. Now you may notice there, I put that villager on that tree there to get her as close to the water as possible. That way I could get there and start building that dock as soon as possible. I had a little bit of trouble spotting it. The coastline was a little bit farther out than I expected it to be, but it all worked out well. My second card here, I'm not going to send nothing. I'm going to wait for 2 caravels in the second age, the colonial age. We're getting there already. 4 minutes, 20 seconds into the game. We currently have 14 villagers on wood, a house, so 30 total population, and our dock up and being built with schooners. And now we're going to have 2 fishing boats coming. or only one. Nope, only one coming. But we're going to be fine. Now, unfortunately, I'm kind of looking around, and I cannot find a single herdable fish. Are fishes herdable? Are they fishable? I don't know what to call them, but they're a food resource on the water. So I guess I'm going to call them herdables, since I think of all food as herdables. As you notice here, as we're approaching the colonial age, I'm going to take those 3 villagers off of chopping wood. I'm going to let them be idle because I must get that food as fast as possible. My fishing boom actually didn't go quite as fast as I had planned, so I was a little bit behind in just regards to getting another set of villagers out with having gathered food. Fortunately, though, we do have 1 fishing boat out, another coming. We do have 2 caravels coming, and now we're going to have enough food here in order to make more villagers, so it's not the end of the world. Unfortunately, I still haven't found food on the map. I'm kind of like, well, this sucks, and then I find some right there. So now we're going to get all our boats on that, and we're going to have 2 caravels coming really soon. We gathered up our 500 food, and now we're going to go resume making villagers, but I'm going to put them on wood here. I'm going to make a little bit of a risky gameplay, but I really want to focus my boat economy. I really want to focus preparing to rush him as fast as is humanly possible. Now, I get my 2 caravels here, and look at this. Hotkey 2, hotkey 3. I think, you know what would make using these caravels really easy and efficient? Putting them on hotkey, something I get told to all the time. Drink break. Cold Dr. Pepper, so good. Anyway, so I think, well, I'm going to use hotkeys, and I'm going to micromanage them. I'm going to explore the ocean, and that way I'll be able to control them. I'll be able to destroy any docks he has and really get a huge advantage here, and that's exactly what's going on. So, as you can see here, I'm making boats, I'm spreading out over the map, and I see some of his herdables right near the shoreline, and I'm just going to start picking away at them with my caravels, and I guess he just missed it or something. Like, he just totally didn't see that I was doing that or whatever, but I'm able to kill, what, 3 or 4 villagers here by just picking them off with my caravels. I'm going to keep making villagers from my town center, and my 3rd shipment's actually going to be 13 strelets. I want to get some pressure on him as fast as possible, just because I'm really scared of the Dutch. I know the Dutch already have a pretty good land economy. Add in the sea, and they're very dangerous. So I want to kind of get that ball rolling proverbially in terms of getting that pressure on him and getting him in trouble. Now, as you can see here, I do send that villager down to the bottom of my island, and here's my whole plan. Build the blockhouse on the other side, and here's where blockhouses in Russian and water maps are phenomenal. Blockhouses have a great anti-ship attack, so by putting that blockhouse on his island, if he tries to make warships by his island, or if he tries to have fishing boats come out from his island or near my blockhouse, the blockhouse is going to destroy them, and I'm just like thinking in my head, this is great, could not get any better. Now at this point here, we're gonna finally buy gang saws, which is probably something I should have bought a little bit sooner or earlier, and I didn't, so shame on me, I'm sorry. Gonna keep making fishing boats though. At this point, our economy is pretty dependent on fishing. Now we're gonna get that caravel, the Diana, back to go pick up our strelets, and we're gonna have this villager start making us a blockhouse right at the corner of his island. It doesn't appear like he's seen it yet, which was excellent, and I really feel really good at this point. His score is actually solidly 4 points ahead of us, but I feel like, or let me edit that, I know I have the economic base at this point to kill him. I have 28 villagers at 8 minutes in the game. For Russian, that's pretty ridiculous. I'm going to be able to make a ridiculous amount of strelets. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm already in my head. I'm envisioning a strelet horde blocking out the sun and sweeping on his town like the zombie apocalypse. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking he is in trouble. He has posed absolutely no threat to me in my control of the oceans. I'm going to send my galleon as my next card, though, just in case he does decide to send the his own 2 caravel card. I'm expecting it soon, so I'm going to make sure that I get my own 2 caravel card. And here I'm going to actually build a wall. It's very rare you see people build walls in rush games, but I'm going to build a wall here for good reason, and that reason is going to be that I don't want him to be able to come in and destroy that blockhouse easily. Now, you may notice I had 3 people there gathering coin. I'm going to move them off. My goal is to get another caravel. Remember, our goal is to have control of the sea undisputedly, and now we have that. We're able to kill another villager, and we're going to go for another one, and now we're going to start massing those strelets up on him. And he's got a barracks built, but he's kind of in some trouble. He's definitely in some trouble. He probably has 2, considering that there's skirmishers coming. At least that was the thought process in my head. But it doesn't matter, because naval-wise, we are going to smoke him. And he does have 2 barracks built and a bunch of skirmishers. And you may notice down at the mini-map, or I notice, he's attacking my ship. Fortunately, I'm going to use my broadside attack to micromanage him. There comes a second ship, and I think, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. So I'm going to send my other ship down from the top of the map down, and I'm barely able to destroy one of his caravels and escape with my own caravel. And it doesn't appear that he's in pursuit, so I'm actually going to get my other caravel around to attack him. He's going to start firing on that other caravel, and that's going to allow me to get my very, very injured caravel, which is about to die, free shots on his caravel. If he had just taken out that injured caravel, it would have been a one-on-one caravel fight instead of a 2-on-1. But now here I am with all 3 of my caravels alive, none of his caravels alive, plus I have a galleon sitting at my home city arrival point, and now I'm going to send 5 Cossacks, but I'm going to make this my home city arrival point at my blockhouse on his island, and I'm going to build a stable. And at this point, he is in a world of hurt. We have 15 Strelets on his island. We've already made a bunch, and now we're only making more. So I feel at this point like the game is pretty well in hand. Even though our scores are still neck and neck, and he has a bunch of skirmishers, I'm willing to bet that my ability to spam Strelets is a lot better than his ability to spam out skirmishers. Just because Strelets are cheap, just like it's the Russian way of doing things. Cheap units for the win. Now here, as you can see, I have been putting more villagers I've been making onto food, and the reason why is because I am going with a little bit more of a Strelet spam, so I'm aware that I need more, but we're going to keep making boats and scattering them across the map. And curiously enough, it does not appear like he's put any threat to fishing, which I cannot understand, because I actually was not hosting this game. He was hosting the Caribbean map, which generally means that you have some kind of strategy, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is Caribbean, I want to do this strategy. So I found it really strange that he would be hosting a Caribbean water map and not have a grab the ocean kind of strategy going on, or something or other. I don't know. Now, as you can see here, I'm going to kind of spread my caravels out around the map to really take map control. I'm going to send my 1 injured caravel to my dock back by my home city, or my town center, to heal it. And I'm going to build a second blockhouse because we want to spam out more Strelets. Although at this point my Strelets are absolutely dominating him, and I really don't know why he's keeping the fight. And although I will point out here, his score is dead even with mine somehow. Or, yeah, almost dead even with mine. Although I've kind of pulled ahead a little bit by now as of saying this. But as you can see, we have more Strelets coming, and there's not much you can do to stop me at this point. We definitely have it going on pretty well. But we're going to keep making villagers, keep making boats. We're not really going to change up our strategy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So as you can see here, at this point, we're finally going to send our, I can't remember that name of that card, but it upgrades our fishing gathering rate a little bit late in the game, but it's at the point where I'm just spamming out units and cleaning it up. It would be the right choice to send at this point, now that I've sent everything a little bit more pertinent. I could send the 700 wood, but as you can see, I'm sitting on a surplus of 500 wood. Granted, I am building a blockhouse and a dock and Strelets, so it's going pretty quick, but I do not need to worry. At least I didn't feel like I needed to worry at this point about making sure that I didn't need more wood, so I didn't bother to send it. Now, he says GG here, but decides to keep on playing, which I kind of felt was a little bit suspicious maybe, like, oh, GG, I'm done. Wait, no, I'm not. And I thought at this point the match was over. I'm like, yeah, dude, Caribbean is a bomb, dog. I mean, I love this. This is great. I mean, I greatly enjoyed playing Caribbean. Anyway, though, so he said GG, and I thought, oh, the match is clearly over. So I'm going to send my wood trickle card just because I can, just to keep things going. I kind of have my units being idle. I'm going to go just start idly burning a bank. I'm going to keep building houses. And you can see here at 10 minutes in the game, we have, you know, over almost 100 population, you know what I mean? 40 villagers, a bunch of military, and we've really been able to utilize the ocean to our advantage. Now we're going to keep destroying his banks here. Again, I'm thinking, I got this game won, dog. Don't even trip it. So I wasn't really expecting any more resistance or anything. But as you can see, his GG was a lie. And I'm kind of at this point wondering, you haven't resigned yet. So I'm just going to keep making sure things are being taken care of properly. Like, I'm not going to be an idiot and stop playing, even though I'm not really being as aggressive as I would have been. And then here he comes back and attacks me. And I see on the edge of the map, he's got a huge horde of skirmishers. And I think that's what you're up to, sir. So, you said GG, but you didn't mean it. But that's okay. You know why? Because I can afford to just throw Strelets at you for days. And I already have a million Strelets on the map. So, it's not like I'm afraid of all of your skirmisher herd. So I think he realizes that at this point, but we already got 114 population, and I mean, the battle's pretty won at this point. It was pretty lopsided. So that was that. We actually haven't gotten to do any real water maps on this map. So there you go. That was a little bit of a semi-fish boom. I guess the biggest change we made here was obviously having the fishing cards, sending schooner as our first card. Instead of splitting our villagers between food and wood while aging, as you noticed, we obviously sent all of our villagers to wood. I guess some changes I would make is I'd buy gang saws a lot sooner. I feel like I was really stupid for waiting as long as I did to buy it. I'd send gang saws sooner, and I would probably, what else would I probably do? I'd send gang saws sooner, and I don't know what else I'd do. I felt like I played pretty decently, not amazingly, but for never playing a water strategy, I definitely went into his map, the Caribbean that he wanted, and took it to him. So I felt pretty happy about that. So it was a GG. He said not bad. He wanted to play again, but I wanted to get this video out to y'all today, so that's why I didn't play again. It was a lot of fun. And it was fun to kind of narrate and just go on the fly and say, you know what, let's do it. Now, stay tuned after this. We are going to have a deck walkthrough. I'm going to go through my normal Russian rush deck. I'm going to go through the water deck that I used in this video. Both, I think, are pretty good decks for Russian. I've learned a lot lately from playing, so I feel like my deck caliber of walkthroughs has only gotten better, actually. So I'd be really interested to know what you all think about that. And this was all around a fun map. So we're gonna take a cruise through the post game per normal, and then we'll get to the post game or the deck walkthrough. So as you can see here, I'm just checking out the map. I was really surprised that he didn't have any fishing whatsoever. I mean, really? And I was kind of bummed that I didn't really get a chance to go grab the trading post on the other island. But as you notice there, I had 300 food, 300 wood, and 100 coin at the end. So I was doing a really good job of like getting my resources moved out. And as you notice there, he actually had over 2,000 more resources total than me, despite my fishing boom and just getting a really good capitalization on my resources. So I guess I traded total resources for a better capitalization, I guess, maybe, perhaps. He probably should have gone on SAR. That would have been a better use of his money, especially considering you're playing Russians. I mean, come on. A Russian Sterlet Rush is really the most obvious thing you could ever see coming. Although, if he thought I was going Musketeers, it explained why he only went Skirms. Anyways, as you can see here, all unit count, we exploded on the scene, both with villagers and with military units. And you look at that big drop there. If you look at the big drop with red from 17 right there to 13, we were able to kill 3 of his villagers, and that looks like it really set him back and was something he never really quite recovered from. So all around, it was a really, really good game. It was a lot of fun to play. And as you can see here, he killed me in economic score, which I'm not sure how, despite the fact that he was fish booming. I don't know how he did better than me in economic score. Maybe because wood gathers slower, but I killed him in military score. So all around, it was just a fun, fabulous match to play. I greatly enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy watching it. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And let's get to our second match, or our second part of this video, our deck walkthrough. There will be no quote from the Art of War today, guys, and I'm really sorry. I wanted to put this part of the match before the second, so that's why it is how it is. So thanks for watching, and let's get to the deck walkthrough. Alrighty guys, so that was our match for today, a one-on-one on Caribbean. A lot of fun to get to, and it's very rare that we get a Caribbean match ever online. I think that's actually the first Caribbean match I've ever played online. I never get to, so that was a lot of fun to play and bring to you guys. So I hope you guys liked it. Now, in the last video, there was the top-rated comment was, BTM, do a Russian deck walkthrough. So I'm doing that in the next video for y'all because I love you guys. And that's what's going on right here, right now. We're going to do our deck walkthrough. And for once, I actually changed the decks. I didn't record this before the game, but I did use a good deck in the game. So I just wanted to let you guys know I might make some changes here. So I guess in that sense that, yeah, I didn't change the deck beforehand, but I feel like I did a good job. Now, as you can see, we're playing my Russian civilization. So I have a million decks because I've been playing Russian forever, right? But this is my deck that really matters. This is my rush deck, and we're going to just go through all the possible card choices, look at them, and make some decisions. Now, from the New World Trading Company, you notice the Russians don't have the normal villager line you'd expect to see. So the most important card I find from the New World Trading Company is 300 wood. Now, a lot of people say, send this card, which sends you a trickle of wood in the first stage, but I often find sending a solid 300 wood and getting a blockhouse built as fast as possible and having that extra 50 wood left over is a very, very wise move to make with Russian. It's in fact one of the biggest cards I'd recommend from here. Now, the only other cards from the New World Trading Company I'd really recommend for Russia, obviously, 700 wood for the second age, 1,000 wood for the third age, and possibly 700 gold if you're trying to fast fortress, or if you're going to go with a Cossack strategy. Cossacks are amazing. You should definitely use them more than you are. Okay, now let's go to the military academy. This is where Russia really flourishes. Russia is a military civ. Obviously, Strelets train in batches of 10. Phenomenal unit. Yes, they're not strong and they get killed by hand cavalry, but keep them away from hand cavalry and they are your best friend. Russia also has an incredibly viable cavalry strategy. I'm trying to say it right so I don't piss people off. Russia has an incredibly viable cavalry strategy because Cossacks only take up 1 population and are almost as good as Hussar. Add to that a Cossack card that you can send in age 2 to change your hit points and damage by 15%, which is a phenomenal card for any deck. And you just got an amazing ability there to do a very, very strong Cossack strategy. In fact, I'd almost recommend, if you're gonna go with a rush deck, take out the riding school and put in the Cossacks, and this card called Boyars, which is probably Boyars. It's probably like whatever. I speak Russian, but I'm not gonna try to figure out what it actually would sound like in Russian. I would recommend, if you're gonna go with an infantry deck, take out the riding school card and put in the Boyars card. If you're going to go with the cavalry deck, take out one of your training school cards, put in the Boyars card. It's an excellent card. This is more my infantry deck, so we'll put in Boyars in there, I think. I think that's a wise move to make. For the rest of potential card options, Russia does have a viable Grenadier strategy. They do have a viable Cossack Musketeer Strelet strategy. They all around have great choices. I'd really recommend, I mean, your staple for the second age from the military academy is obviously going to be 13 Strelets, 4 Cossacks, 5 Cossacks. After that, you're pretty much looking at late game. I personally prefer from the military academy to put in the cannons and then a bunch of infantry. I figure that if I don't have cavalry by this point, I'm not probably going to be able to afford to make it, I guess. So I don't find it as important, but that's just a personal playstyle. Grenadiers are a great choice. I love using Grenadiers. They do really well, but I'd almost rather have 11 infantry or 17 Strelets rather than 5 Grenadiers or Oprichniks. Oprichniks. I have no idea what that word would look like in Russian. I gotta look it up, that way I can say it properly. Anyway, so that's the military academy. Russia has a ton of great options. Some good possibilities are like Strelet Combat and Ransack, or this card which does a muster of Strelets in each blockhouse, but I don't really find those to be super useful in a rush deck, considering you're trying to get going as fast as possible. Now if you go to St. Basil's Cathedral, this is really interesting. Russia actually has some great options. They do have the trading post card. They have a pretty good line of native cards. They obviously have all the important infantry upgrades. They have forts and stuff. Now one thing you have to keep in mind with Russia is they don't have outposts per se. Their outposts are mixed in with their barracks, so instead you have your blockhouses, obviously. So you're not going to be able to send 2 outposts in the second age, and that's kind of a weakness if you really like that. You can send 2 outposts in the third age, but I think a fort would be better served. And you can send other cards like team barracks, hit points, or you'll have your factory cards, obviously. Good stuff. Or you can even send CVS Pool, which means you build things faster. But I don't really like any of these cards besides outside of the fort, the trading schools, and the advanced trading post. Training schools, not trading schools. The trading schools. I don't really like any of the cards from St. Basil's Cathedral for Rush outside of the fort, the training schools, and the advanced trading post. I could see a case being made for advanced arsenal, but who honestly makes an arsenal in a rush game anyway? You know what I mean? So, anyway, onto the manufacturing plant. Russia has an amazing ability to pretty much do anything economically. They have a great set of cards. You're going to want refrigeration and royal mint as usual. You're going to definitely want to have your wood trickle card, and you're probably going to want economic theory in there as well. You can send inferior if you want. Spice Trade's always a very tempting card, but Russia already has a really strong litany of resource and military second age cards, unlike other civilizations, so I find throwing that in there is often difficult. Same with Silversmith. If you're going to go with a water deck, which we'll take a look at my water deck after this, you're definitely going to want schooners and probably fish market instead of rendering plant, just because you're like I said, your second age is going to be jammed, especially if you're going with a water-based strategy. And finally, for Harbor, if you're going to go with a merc strategy, Russians have some good options. They also have some really good military boat options. I guess their standard stuff. The card I really always like to throw it in is I like to throw and finish Hackapels. I just love using them. They're a lot of fun. You can make a case for Jaegers, I believe they're called. No, those are Highlanders. You can make a case for Highlanders. Those aren't Jaegers. You can make a case for Highlanders. Manchurian Cavalry Archers, also a phenomenal unit if you choose to use it. You can make a case for that. It really just comes down to play style. Viewless Shares, 4th Age, I don't really recommend them. So if you're looking at your 3rd Age Mercenaries, all are excellent. I prefer Hackabels personally. And that's kind of just what Russia has an opportunity to do. They're very massive, blunt, and just kind of very single-minded in what they do. And since this was a water map, I just want to take a quick look at my wet deck I made for this game, actually, specifically. Nothing super different in it, besides the fact I did take out the cavalry training card, knowing that I likely wasn't going to span cavalry. I added the 2 caravels, I added a galleon, and I added a frigate for the 3rd Age. And I also obviously added the fish market and schooners card. I don't know what I took out actually to make room for it. Let me see. I definitely took out the mercenaries, right? I took out the mercenaries, I took out a Cossack card, and I took out the riding school card to give me the space for it. And I felt like this was a pretty good deck, as you can see. I mean, I won the match, and I felt like I was able to get pretty good sea superiority, although I wasn't really challenged. Possible options, I guess, if you are going for a sea strategy is 2 privateers is a pretty good option. I just generally don't like playing the gold for it, because with Russia, I tend to be emphasizing food and wood over gold, but that's just a matter of personal play style. I also, yeah, Admiralty, also potentially good card, adds to your build limit, but it's not something I generally use. Team Warships being cheaper, again, good. I mean, if it was a 4-on-4 on a water map, I'd definitely consider that, because I'd be really saving a good amount of resources. But for a 2-on-2 on land or a 1-on-1 on water, I don't recommend it. Like I said, Rendering Plant, great card, but Russia already has a really filled up Age 2, especially compared to other civilizations. I just don't find they have the room for it. Take the 5% less and send that card in Age 1, or have that card in Age 1 where it's not going to take out something more valuable. You are going to want your 600 and 700 wood, since you're likely going to need wood. And actually, in a Russian rush strategy, or in a Russian wet rush strategy, the frontier defenses and possibly advanced frontier defenses, because they would help you with your coastline, are good options. Although I personally don't feel like I need them, just because blockhouses can do the job anyway. So that's what's going on with Russian. I just wanted to show you guys, get that to you. And I just want to say thank you guys for subscribing to me. I hope I pleasantly surprised you here by bringing you a Caribbean match and a request match out of nowhere. Life's been busy, but I want to make you guys happy, because it really means a lot to me that you guys subscribe and comment and leave so many likes and all that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. If you have another request, I'll try to get to it. I can't always guarantee that I'll get to it quickly or ever, although I still have a list I'm getting to. So I'm going to keep trying to do my best for y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy hunting.